everybody, and welcome to another episode of Book HQ. So today I'm going to be talking about Son of the Storm, which is a book by Suyi Davies Okungbo. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I discovered the book on Kwame Balia's Instagram, and it instantly grabbed me because the cover is so attractive. It evokes a whole lot of those really exciting, interesting things that I really like in a book: mystery, magic, adventure. It's about Danso, like the main protagonist, but it contains several other protagonists, and each chapter is told from the perspective of a different character in the book. It's also interesting for me because they're characters who are introduced sort of later on in the book who aren't there at the beginning, like Biamwense. So it's mainly Danso, Asheme, and then the other thing is that they're also characters who exist from the beginning and then die midway and then are not in the rest of the book. So there's also Zach. The stories are told from their perspectives, and it's set in an Africa that isn't defined by colonialism, like a pre-colonial Africa. And it's really interesting to see how things were structured and how society functioned that way. Everything is governed centrally by the city called Bassa. Bassa is like the most affluent and where the most intellectual and like where everything happens. And then sort of as you get more decentralized, there is also sort of a caste system, kind of like it made me think of how Paris is structured, because you have like the first arrondissement, second arrondissement, third arrondissement. You can tell by the different arrondissements like where people stand on their social economic status scale. And this book's city life is also structured that way. So Danso, who's the main protagonist, is typically from a very low caste, but because he's very intelligent, like he's got an eidetic memory, I guess, he is allowed to attend the university and participate in sort of upper Bassa society activities. But then he gets in trouble because he reads a forbidden manuscript, which was of a king in the past who was crazy, and he was kind of obsessed with fantasy people who could wield magic that don't. And so he stumbled on that text by accident and then read it. So he got into trouble for that. And then later on, the text gets stolen, and so naturally it's assumed that he's the one who stole it. And so he gets sort of deprived, and then he also is sort of on the verge of being expelled. There are a lot of weird circumstances that lead to him having to leave Bassa, like the fact that the non-existent people that this crazy king was talking about actually exist and then come to Bassa. One of them comes to Bassa and then ostensibly commits some very heinous crimes. So there's that. So he has to leave, and he has like everybody who is of his social standing in Bassa has like what they call a second, and his second is called Zach, and so Zach has to leave with him. And then so that's Danso's story. Then there's Asheme, who is his intended, and I kind of felt like I really related to her. I really liked that she had ambition, and but there are some things about her that I didn't relate to. And I remember as I was reading it, I was like, I really relate to her. Like, she has drive. And then later on, I was like, I called my mom and I was like, I think she's a sociopath. And then as I continued reading, I was like, oh dear, she is a sociopath. I don't know how I feel about this. She is the daughter of a fixer called Nem, and they also come from a lower status in society. But because Nem is dangerous, she's kind of exempt from being like a pariah and treated the way that people of her socioeconomic status are normally treated. And so somehow she gets embroiled in this whole story with Danso having to leave, and this imaginary person, like not supposed to exist, tribes person as well. And then Asheme finds out about it because the mother, ends up being in a situation where she's hanging on for her life. So the daughter kind of takes over from where the mom left off. And it's really interesting to see sort of the evolution of Danso and Asheme's relationship, from going to being intendants to kind of going to being rivals as the book goes on. And I also thought it was interesting, like the introduction of this person who belongs to this like fictional people that this crazy king thought up, who can wield magic actually being real and coming. And, the element of the magic is called a boar in the book, and Lilong is this person who she's a yellow skin, so she can change the color of her skin. I suspect that she's probably like naturally just albino, because a lot of the things that are being spoken about in the book about how people hunted them and because they believed that their bones and stuff had magical properties is kind of reminiscent of certain places in Africa that today believe albinos have magical properties and hunt them and like you know, dismember them and things, you know, use them for witchcraft. So I suspect that she's actually just albino. I also really liked in the book that there's a character who is queer, LGBTQI, Igan. So I guess Esheme's bisexual, because Esheme has relations with a guy, but then she and Igan also have relations. It's a very interesting book. The story is extremely well written. It's a very complex story. The only thing that I regretted was that normally when there's like a book series, I wait until there's at least like 2 books out, so that at the end of the book, if I really love it, I have another book to continue reading the story. And like, but this is the first, and it just came out, so the second one isn't out, and so I'm just like, I'm left hanging wanting to know more, and I can't wait to read the second installment of the Nameless Republic series. So that's it for my review of Son of the Storm. Definitely read it, and until next time, keep reading and keep watching. Bye bye.